I had just entered secondary school in January. Those days, the academic year was January to December.
Yeah.
So we entered Apam Secondary School on the 2nd of January. And 6th March, and we had entered as Gold Coasters, if you remember.
Yeah.
On 6th March, we became Ghanaians within 3 months.
Yeah.
And I remember very well as a very young man raising the Ghana flag as my colleague lowered the British flag. And for the last time, we sang God Save the Queen, and sang as the Ghana flag was being raised, our national anthem, for the very first time as students. And it was hilarious.
What was it like, Dr. Yamson? The whole experience? And
It was a marvelous experience. Don't forget that we have all heard about Nkrumah. We had heard about the fight, the struggle for independence. Those days, you had to go at 1 o'clock to listen to the Radio Ghana News.
Yeah.
And you often listen to Nkrumah with his powerful speeches. And so that day, of course, we didn't have television to watch. But the radio was mounted so we could hear Nkrumah's declaration of independence for Ghana. And I remember very well, your beloved country, Ghana, is free forever. And I must say that even as young as we were, it made a huge impression on us, because we knew that that was a big transition from being colonized, from being ruled by colonial power. Those days, we celebrated Queen's birthday. We were given a mark with the Queen's picture embossed on it.
Okay.
But for once, we had a leader, we had a country, and we were very, very happy as young people. Very proud of ourselves. We were very proud to be Ghanaians and no longer Gold Coasters. So it brings back this experience of a transition from being ruled by colonial power to now being an independent, sovereign state ruled by your own president.
Doc, some would say that we can celebrate political independence 68 years. But in terms of economic, financial, we cannot celebrate that. For you, does it worry you that political independence, the Black Star of Africa, the leader of getting independence in the sub-region and all the rest, that leadership has not moved into the economic and financial space?
You're absolutely right. And let me just add, until we started all these military rules, military interventions, and you were very proud to be a Ghanaian. And I can tell you, anytime I walked into Unilever.
It's admission time for the 2026-27 academic year, and St. Andrew's Group of Schools is calling on all GHS graduates and those who want to rewrite the LSE exam. Over the years, St. Andrew's Group of Schools has been the #1 best private school in Ghana, with excellent teaching staff and ultra-modern facilities that provide students with perfect environments for study. Wherever you are, there's a campus waiting for you. Choose your preferred school from the list and start your journey to success today. We are also open for SHS students who wish to change their schools. Here at St. Andrew's Group of Schools, students never fail. St. Andrew's Group of Schools has been absorbed into the free SHS program, offering quality education with free tuition. At St. Andrew's Group of Schools, we say perseverance leads to success.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Corporate Ghana, are you ready? The biggest gathering of Corporate Ghana is back. It's time for the Joy Sports Invitational 2026, where competition meets networking, fun meets fitness, and champions are made. Battle it out in football. Take your shot in the thrilling CEO penalty shootout. Test your speed in alignment spoon race. Laugh your way through the unisex sack race. Pull together in the tag of peace. Show your accuracy in the female penalty shootout. Flex your strength in the arm wrestling and enjoy many more exciting activities. Join us on Saturday, 29th August 2026 at the University of Ghana Stadium. We kick off the day with a high-energy aerobic session from 6 a.m. So come early, warm up, and get ready for an unforgettable day. Ready to register? Call or WhatsApp Slevin on 0242-376445. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament 2026 is proudly sponsored by Toyota, Superior Quality, Minerals Commission, the regulator of the mining industry in Ghana, Ayuda, Ghana's #1 services app, Abaco, Services Bibri, Latex Foam, your partner for life, Copia Leasing, Renting and Maintenance Services, Virtual Security Africa, Complete Security Solutions. Joy Sports Invitational 2026. Let's compete, connect, and celebrate the true spirit of Corporate Ghana.
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP print center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time.
This August, the Super Morning Show is done pretending. Sustainability isn't just tree planting, it's whether the systems we depend on actually last. Lights that stay on, water that reaches the bucket, food that nourishes people instead of rotting away, roads that take us home instead of taking our lives. When things keep failing, that's a sustainability crisis. So this month, we're asking why. Why land guards still run our neighborhoods? Why food rots in bins while our neighbors sleep hungry? Why the road that killed your cousin still has no signage? Why half the water you pay for never reaches your bucket? Uncomfortable? Good. That's the point. Stay tuned to the Super Morning Show throughout August for Joy Sustainability Month. Sponsored by MTN and Momo.
Can he tee up someone in red? And it goes to one!
That's who goal is for. What 5 Champions League? You want to know? I be the real goat. Chairman. I'm the real goat. The left magician. Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
Brother Shift, you two the lie, eh? Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
Hey! You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
Are you busy? Forget everybody. Yeah. My guy. Put some respect on the goat. On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama. Every year we dey give to you back to back. We are talking about BET. I want some Yajiaji face. Except be the goat, huh? My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomobitus always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 and recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
So that I can have, the carrot.
Well, it's said that it might be easy, or maybe smooth, to get to the top or to the number one position. But how do you maintain that status as an individual, a business person, or even a country? If you look at the Ghanaian economy, we've seen some significant growth, macro numbers. If you just want to focus on the numbers, some will say they are looking good. But how do we maintain these numbers? Some have said that we've been to the IMF about 17 or 18 times. And there are some who have said that, well, trust the company Ghana, it will go again. But the challenge here is that how do we maintain these gains as an economy, as a country? Not forgetting the almighty political cycle of the end term of every government and what they have to do to maintain power. Well, these are the issues that we are talking about on PM Express Business Edition. Let's look at sustaining these current economic gains as a country. What are the threats? And also talk about after Africa's Union and all the rest. Has it come under its biggest threat recently? Is Ghana really taking advantage of after or not? All these issues wrapped up as I engage an economist, a business person, somebody who's lived through several governments or government in this country, someone will call him affectionately the chairman of all chairmen, and someone I'll call him an uncle, a father as well. Dr. Ishmael Yamson is my guest on PM Express Business Edition. Doc, thank you so much for your time, and it's been a while. How are you doing yourself? Still playing the golf at dawn, or you've gone easy on the golf playing now?
As you can see, I'm still playing golf. I played yesterday, 5 a.m. and 2 hours. I was ready to come back home and have a shower and come to work.
Are you still taking it easy on the business? Because I know that looking at where you've always been in the past, you're passionate. Yamson and Associate, or George, I'm now leaving it to the young guys to manage things for me.
Well, I'm trying to face myself out, but there's still some work to be done. For the company, you still need to give the young people direction. But I think I'm spending a lot more time on external issues, government issues, the boards I serve on. So I'm relaxing more than before.
But the lawyers will say, I put it to you, I don't see you relax. This is still the same Dr. Jansen running around UAC days and flying over, and they're paying attention to details.
That is true. That is true. The thing is, if you are used to it, you can't just change it overnight. I just have to face myself out gradually. If you have an abrupt end, it may not be good for your health. And I've seen it happen to my friends, so I don't want to make that mistake myself.
And I was 85 years or 84 years.
Well, 84 going to 85.
Doc, let's talk about the economy.
Yeah.
And there are some who said that we won't take anything away from this government. But there are some who say that we have seen it before. For you, what do you make of the what we've been through and the current macro numbers that we are seeing?
I have asked that question myself. I've said it before, that I have seen this not once, not twice. I've seen it many times. When governments come into power, the first 2 years are always very rosy. And then everything falls apart by the third, fourth year. Maybe with one exception, where we went through a fourth year without destroying the economy, was during our Safuma time as finance minister. But even that was very difficult. So it's a question that I've been asked many times, not by Ghanaians, but also by investors who have seen this country many times. They've seen the history, they know what it is. We go up, we come down, we take 3 years to build, and we take another 5 years to destroy. So it's been quite a challenge. And it's difficult for people to believe that what is happening now is sustainable. But if you ask me, I would say it is different this time.
What makes it different, Dr. Yamson? Because
Well,
some
you
are saying
see-
that we've seen single-digit inflation before, we've seen interest rates slide down before. The political actors, or these are the same civil servants that are there. The only difference is that we have a different president. But that president, this president has been there before. So there are the skeptics who say that what is the basis of Dr. Yamson's optimism or, well, this time maybe things might be different?
You know, even the fund in their own report says that we are seeing what we are seeing because government has not been spending money. What has happened in this country for on many occasions. But, and first of all, let me congratulate this government for what it has achieved in 18 months. We haven't achieved that level of economic stability before. It's just dramatic. And it is worth commending them that they have had to, because if you recall where we came from, being where we are today can only be commended.
But Dr. Yamson will say that maybe the grounds were laid. The IMF program was critical, even though it came late. Some debt restructuring, and if you read the rating agencies' their report, they give credit to the fact that the debt has come this low because of we committing to a debt restructure. Some will say that the grounds were laid for the stability that we enjoy now.
That is, well, it is right to make those assumptions. But you see, you have to look at sustainability in a different way. I say to people, even when we do consult for companies, I say to them, you won't get sustainability unless you build resilience, right? In the past, you would find that literally all our governments in the past did what they could do in the short term to stabilize the economy. Didn't go the next step to ensure that they create the pillars that will hold the economy into the longer period. And let me give you one example. I know that everybody is saying it's ambitious, but the gold for reserves program, it has its risks. There's no doubt about it. We can go through the risk and talk about the risk. But if they achieve the 15 months cover by 2008, then I am very confident that we can sustain what, because that is
2028, sorry.
That is the resilience you would have built to allow you to sustain the macro stability you are experiencing today. So most of the past governments did not build the resilience. They only took actions to stabilize the economy in the first 2-3 years. And the two things are very different. I'll give you an example. If you look at our inflation basket, the biggest problem has always been food.
Yeah, transport.
We spent billions of money on planting for food and jobs, right? And yet, food inflation never responded. Now, if the government says, I'm going to invest in 250,000 hectares for oil palm plantation, and part of it will be for food production in plantation form, you are resolving a very fundamental issue on a long-term basis. So my point is that, yes, you can suppress expenditure now to bring stability, but you need to create pillars for resilience that allow you, and I've given you 2 examples, and there are many more. So I think that if this government commits itself and actually sees through all the resilience initiatives that they have started, then I have no doubt. Because I believe that unless we can demonstrate to investors that we can maintain stability for a minimum of 10 years, we will go nowhere. Because nobody builds a factory for 5 years. No one builds a factory for 10 years. Unilever was commissioned just after Nkrumah was overthrown. It's still there. How many years now? So no investor comes to any country to invest money unless it is a briefcase investor who comes and makes a quick buck and runs away. But if it's an investor that means business, set up a factory, employs people, he's thinking 30 years, 40 years. If you go to oil palm plantation, you are thinking 50 years. So we need to create that mindset that our stability should not be 4 years, should be 5 years. You are talking about giving governments 5 years terminology. It will mean nothing.
You don't buy the idea that
what you cannot do
a president, if George Wiafe becomes the president of Ghana, he needs about 5 years to maintain the economy.
If you cannot do it in 4 years, what's the guarantee that you can do it in 5 years? You couldn't do it in 4 years. And you say, 1 more year, I can do it. For me, it doesn't attract me at all.
Businesses talked about longevity, I mean, long-term.
Yes.
Even credit facility, they talk about long-term facility. Why can't that same rule be applied when it comes to governance and the political space? Because you need that long-term to maintain the stability that we are all pushing for.
George, maybe what you will delay is the election. To go for 4 years to 5 years. So the election disruption will now not happen in 4 years, it's happening in 5 years. But the disruption will come anyway. What I'm saying is that let us see how this government sees through the resilience pillars that they have committed themselves to, right? Because now if you have we used to have gold for oil. Gold for oil means you sell gold and buy oil. You are not keeping the oil to support the currency. Gold for reserves means that your gold, you are using it to build reserves to support your currency. So that alone is a major, major step. Then there is the new bill, which I don't know what is passed, but for the way the public servants behave. One of our biggest problems in this country has been corruption. And let's talk about it. That has been our biggest. So if we can embed corruption and make it unattractive in our governance structure, just like Galamsey, right? You can go and arrest all the small boys in the site. Unless you arrest the people who are funding them, you won't solve the problem.
I think we should target those who are financing
precisely. So you can only build this economy by going to the fundamentals and building resilience pillars that allows sustainability to follow. Many times people confuse the two. If you are not resilient, you won't be sustainable.
Doc, you talked about gold and how building reserves could also help with the sustainability thing. If I read through the IMF staff report, there was a recent report even by the Ghana Statistical Service, and they were warning that relying on one commodity to be a driver is opening yourself for several shocks. The Finance was warned us that, listen, if there should be any price fluctuation, the economy is seriously exposed. Are we not venturing into a dangerous area?
But that is only one part of it. In the budget, I think 2025 or this year, the minister talks about putting 250,000 hectares of land under oil palm plantation. Malaysia was built on oil palm plantation, just one crop. It's a big initiative. I am only wishing that it should not just remain an announcement, that we can see it through. Because the investors to farm the 50,000 are ready. It is not a matter of just even wasting time to go and look for them. We can. And if you put 250,000 hectares of land under agriculture, you know how many people you employ? Let us say three individuals per hectare, 250,000. It's 750,000 jobs. Can you find 750,000 jobs in workers in Ghana in the next 3 years who are well trained? And these are not menial jobs. These are good quality, well-paying jobs. So that again is another pillar. That again is another big
so that
pillar.
Oil palm plantation would generate a lot of jobs to help with the diversification of the economy as well.
And then let me take you into the new economy driven by digital economy. If you are training 1 million coders, it's not just the 1 million, that's the coders. When you go to the next stage of then introducing certification for those 1 million people, you know what you are doing? The entrepreneurs you create in this country. So all the signs of building resilience are there. If I have any worry, is the worry of how does the government make sure that it sees it through? As I sit here, I have no doubt that they will not see it through.
But let's come to still my concern about gold. And the problem is that, yes, it's good times to have gold. The prices are rising. But the IMF and even the Ghana Statistical Service is warning that be careful on the over-concentration of gold, because if it flips today, if our Uncle Trump today does something or the Federal Reserve does something and the price of gold just slides to about 2,000 or even 1,000, the economy will be exposed to serious shocks.
I think we also forget that in the same budget, government has introduced adding value to gold. The price that fluctuates is the price of the commodity gold.
The raw gold, yeah.
But if you put value on it, if you refine the gold, then it gives you even higher value, right? I mean, all these countries that are thriving on gold, why do they have gold in their countries? No, they don't.
They add value. Switzerland,
but
India,
we dig the gold, we sell them the raw gold cheap, and then they create all the value. We don't even get 10% of the value in the end. Just like our cocoa.
So you think that we are working to do with the value addition problem?
Right, exactly. So the value addition was my next pillar.
Yeah.
Resilience.
And if we do that, we will be able to build the buffers to absorb any potential shocks to the commodity.
So we should not just start mining gold. People have been mining gold in Takwa for how many years now? 200 plus. Obuasi. Go to Obuasi and see what Obuasi looks like. So what did we do with the gold? So Nkrumah was building a gold refinery in Takwa, and we were told by the same farm people, no, close it down, we close it down, right? So if we had, at that time, we had continued to refine the gold, we won't be where we are today. We are where we are today because for many years we talked about adding value to our commodities. We never did.
What do you make of the operations of the Gold Board?
Pardon?
The Gold Board.
The Gold Board.
Some who've raised certain issues, but for you, sitting back, again, looking at where you've come from, what do you make up of the setting up of this institution and what it is currently doing?
No, I think that the structure from the beginning wasn't the best. And that's why they lost money. And even there...
But it wasn't... The IMF is saying that it's Bank of Ghana's exposure and not the institution itself.
I understand, but now they've taken away from Bank of Ghana. But even... I just read this report. It says the 1.7 billion that was lost was solely due to gold for oil for 2025. All the noise. It wasn't due to gold for reserves. But I put that aside. I think that, look, everybody thought Russian economy was going to collapse when all the sanctions and yet the Russian rupee turned out to be the strongest currency. Why? Russia has about 350 million tons of gold reserves. That is what sustains the Russian economy. So there's a cost to everything. What we need to understand is, where is the cost coming from? Is the operation transparent? Is it auditable? So that we make sure that it is not another source of people stealing money. But if we can guarantee that the Gold Board idea is not a bad idea. Look, take Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board is not where it is because it's a bad idea. It is just bad management, bad governance. You know, that's what is brought Cocoa Board, because every Cote d'Ivoire doesn't have Cocoa Board. And yet, it's now producing 2.2 million tons. Without our Cocoa Board, we are struggling to produce 500,000 tons. And yet, we were producing more gold than Cote d'Ivoire before. So it is our governance culture of thinking that, you know, all we need is go and steal the money, you know, make it our private property, and then run the organization and then turn around and say it's a bad organization.
But for the record, I mean, when it comes to even auditing, on recent auditing that was done, they've passed all those clean bill of health in terms of the Auditor General and several audits that was done in institution as well. So my question basically has to do with the fact that what do you make of, in terms of the value addition and they streamlining the sector as well, do you think it's a good thing for the Gold Board in terms of what they're doing right now?
I think that it is a good thing. We must get the governance structures right. We must make the operations transparent, and it must be scrupulously audited. And we must stop making it a political institution. We should get the best people to run the Gold Board, not people because, oh, he worked very hard for the party, so we'll put him there. That is what has caused. Look, state-owned enterprises. Nkrumah set up close to 380 state-owned enterprises. Why? Today they are a liability. And yet you take a state enterprise and an equivalent in the private sector. The private sector company is making money. The one owned by the state is losing money. What's the reason? It's because the governance is wrong. We don't put the right people there. They steal the money. So Gold Board is not a bad idea. I think we should try, but I think we must make sure, the fund people themselves say in their report, that we must make sure that it is transparent.
Which they are doing.
It should be auditable. We should make sure that we staff it with qualified professionals. Because if you deal in commodity, you sometimes you lose money, sometimes you get money. But let's make sure that the structure itself is right.
Indeed. Some have said that the stability, and Uncle, I just want to get your thought again on this, that for you, how do we maintain these current stability that we are seeing right now? What do we need to do?
You see, I have told you, I think we have all the things that can help us maintain the stability. You've got the resilience pillars. One big thing which I think we need in this, and I'm not very sure that we are there yet, is our mindset. our mindset being in government, right? If we go to government to serve Ghana, to serve the interests of Ghana, not our personal interest, to stop the corruption and the greed. If we can just stop that, and look, Canada, the Canadian economy is run like a private sector company, right? So there's no reason why we can't do it in Ghana. But we must change our mindset that you go into politics not because you are going to make money for yourself. Somebody told me the other day that, look at yourself. He came here and said, oh, you live in a modest house. I said, yes, but why should I live in a luxurious house? He said, but the people who go into politics in 3 years, they live in bigger houses than you have in 60 years that you have been working. So we need to change our mindset. It's a very fundamental change we need to have as a Ghanaian. Look, in our political structure, and I've talked about this before, we must stop. You see, our politics gives us leaders who either can talk or who can pay. But that doesn't make them good leaders. What we need are leaders who are fit for purpose. They are fit to be leaders because they have come here with their purpose to change the country. The president, and I admire him, very humble person, resetting Ghana, building the Ghana we want together. He believes in it to the core. I don't believe that everybody who follows him believes in it. That's the difference. So we say in business, that's the bus. If you share in my philosophy, in my ideas, in my values, join the bus. If you don't share, get out of the bus.
Let's talk about the political side. And some have said that the biggest threat that several governments have always faced is the election year, that final year to the elections and the push to stay in power. And this government would also face the same thing. Do you share in that thought or argument that that quest to maintain power has always been our biggest bane in the stability that we've talked over the years? When we come, first 2 years, stability is there, get into elections, we lose it. What do you make of this argument that that has been our biggest problem, getting to elections?
It has been, but I have told you that there was one time that didn't happen. And that was a time when Osabumafo was finance minister. And I can tell you that Akufo-Addo will be like your Osabumafo, even better.
What is the basis of that optimism?
Pardon?
I'm saying that. What's your basis of that optimism?
Because he believes that we need to build a better country. Ghana is bigger than anything else. Ghana is bigger than any part.
Does all his ministers share in this optimism? Or
well, they better begin to share in it. Because, I mean, because if you go and spend on projects that don't exist just to make money available for elections, that is where he will destroy the economy. But I'm 100% sure he will not do that. And I will challenge him that prove everybody wrong, that phenomenon where in the fourth year, finance ministers just go there and spoil the economy, you will not go down in that path.
I ask this question because he might be just one person.
But if he doesn't give you the money, you can't spend it.
Yeah, but some have said that, yes, you can spend it, but some are saying that it takes a collective.
I agree.
To let this be realized.
I agree.
And faced with the problem where the electorate are saying that we want jobs, construction.
Many years ago.
We can't get jobs, you know. And that temptation of spending where there's no tomorrow,
you see,
it is always a thin line.
You can get jobs if you sustain this for 10 years or more. Because it takes time to create jobs. If you put oil palm seedling on the ground, it will take you 5 years, 3 to 5 years before you start harvesting, right? So creating value, creating jobs, it takes time. That's what I'm talking about, mindset. If we all realize that creating a prosperous economy is not going to take 2 years, 3 years for it to take time. During that period, we all have to sacrifice, to make sure that the time will come when we all rejoice. If you have read all the books about the Asian tigers, they were all like us. All of them were like us. In all cases, it took one man to say, I will change this economy, and I will change it, and they did change it. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that, looking at what I am seeing today from this government, there is a commitment to change this country. Mm-hmm. Now I'm saying that definitely there are many politicians who would not like what is going on. They don't like it. Mm-hmm. And they won't like it. Because for them, life as usual should be the norm. Mm-hmm. So if you try to change it, you are standing in their way. But I'm saying that we need people who stand up and say, even if it should take my life, I'll stand up for Ghana.
Doctor, there's a theory, and I stand you educated, where they talked about spending to stimulate growth. And some have accused the finance minister of not spending, and therefore growth is going to suffer. Where do you draw the line between fiscal discipline and spending right to stimulate growth and to generate jobs? Because some have accused this finance minister that he is not spending that will stimulate growth and create jobs.
Not only that, but when your currency becomes too strong, you attract more imports, and you make domestic production suffer. So the initial stage, we will have to go through that period. If I take over a company that is bleeding, the first thing I will do is to cut costs and take a fresh look at all the expenditures and say, these are valid expenditures, I should go on. And then start spending on those expenditures that will create value and create jobs. So you have the first 2 years that will be very tough for the economy. The communication has not been that robust, because we should have communicated to the Ghanaians that, listen, the first 2 years, we will have to start with a clean slate and look, because not everything was done in the previous administration is what you want to continue, right? If you start 1,000 school blocks, you don't have the money, and you can only do 100. You definitely have to be disciplined to say, let me finish 100, let me go to the next 100. Meanwhile, I'm building the capacity to allow me to make more investment in productive investments. So the first 2 years is always tough, and that is the test for every finance minister. They will say everything about you. Even the woman in the market will say, and they on the crowd, because money is not flowing as it was before. Yeah. But you need to go through that period. And then, when you have then stabilized the economy, you then begin to open the purse and start investing.
And you think that should be the next stage for him to spend?
Yes, definitely.
But spend
rightly.
And targeted sports.
Precisely. Not spend for election, no.
But some of the food soldiers are complaining.
The food soldiers, when they begin to see progress, when they begin to see life getting easier, they will understand. I am promising you this. When you put 50,000, even 10,000 hectares of oil palm under cultivation, and you suddenly can employ 20,000, 30,000 people, do you think they can't see that you are creating jobs? They will say it. That will be different from saying, what they call use something on paper. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Use for afforestation. Yeah. And then the 9 months they were demonstrating just here because they hadn't been paid for 9 months. So why did you set up use for afforestation when you know that there was no job like that? So I am saying our politicians need to change their mindset. Politicians need to communicate honestly what they can do and what they cannot do. And politicians should understand that They must demonstrate that they are creating value, they are creating jobs, when Ghanaians have given them the opportunity to go through the hard period.
There's an argument about the African and the Ghanaian being able to manage his own stuff and all the rest. There were people who were very critical of previous administration, even now, about we going ahead with the IMF program. We've ended that. We've gone for a policy coordination instrument.
Yeah.
Some have said that, listen, you need that bridge to still assure the market.
Sure.
Do you think it was a good thing to sign up for?
Absolutely great thing that they did.
We can still manage the economy as Ghanaians?
Oh, yes, because the PCI...
But we are still bringing this program on board.
The PCI doesn't say you are going to borrow money from IMF, no.
But the IMF will still be supervising
the
over your economy.
The PCI only says that you retain the same discipline as you were under IMF. And that everybody, investors, the fund, the other development partners, can see openly that you are actually honest to them and that you are maintaining the same discipline. So we hadn't done it before. So transitioning from ECF to a PCI was a great thing that happened. And I'm very happy that it happened. Because if you read the document, it is not different from what we should do under an ECF program.
But doesn't it expose us that we cannot manage our own affairs? There are those who of the school of thought that a fund program, a PCI, exposes the fact that you cannot maintain fiscal discipline because I, as a politician, as a financier, need to convince others that we are under a fund program, so we can't spend. We are under a fund program, so we need to be prudent. Some are saying that you don't need a fund program to be fiscal discipline if you can really manage your affairs.
No, the thing is that when you destroy trust, it takes a long time to rebuild it. It is easy to destroy trust, and we destroyed the trust of the global financial community in what we did from 20 whatever to 2008. We destroyed trust. To rebuild that trust, if you were to stop abruptly, everybody would go, those guys, we know them. Once they are out of IMF program, they are going back to their old bad ways. This one says, at least they have another period where they are assuring us that they won't depart from it, even though they are not borrowing money from the fund. I support that. I think we need to take time to rebuild the trust. Look, there are investors who are coming here. Many of them pass through here. They ask one question all the time. Are you sure this can be sustained? What we are seeing. So the PCI is part of rebuilding the trust of those who lost trust in this country and its economy. No, in a very... So I think that what the government has done is right. Is right. But as I've said, let me repeat it. The people behind the policy need to get everybody else to believe in what they are doing and not to say, oh, because the election is coming and blah, 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 blah. Let them share in the long-term view of building a new Ghana where you and I will be happy in it. When I was a young manager, every 12 o'clock, every Ghanaian worker stood up and sang Work and Happiness. Everybody loved this country. Workers were happy. We can go to that part again, but we cannot get there if we do this stop, short, run, stop, hop, step, and stop. We went.
So this PCI was good to help maintain that stability and give some signals to the donors and investors that country Ghana is committed to fiscal discipline.
Sorry?
So this PCI program that we did was good to send signals to investors that
it's part
country Ghana is committed to fiscal discipline.
Of it.
The status quo will be maintained when it comes to
and don't forget that Ghana voluntarily offered. It was not imposed on the government. And that is the honesty part of it. That's why I'm saying there's a commitment. We should then back it up with political will. And that political will come from the rank and file of those who are to execute the policy. And that, again, let us all change our mindset that we don't want to be like this forever. We have, today, 21st century, I see people reading news, still reading, like when I started working in GBC, they reading news. No, we've gone past that stage. Every little girl in a European school,
using tablets.
Tablet. We still have blackboard and chalk in our classrooms. 21st century, no.
Let me get your thought also when it comes to the bit about the Ghana city. We've seen some rally, and I know you have some very drastic opinion when it comes to the Ghana city. For you, we've seen the rallying over the past 1 week. What do you make of it? And for you, what do we need to do? We've seen inflow from the extractive sector coming in to help with the city's good run and all the rest. What else do we need to do so that we avoid those perpetual fluctuations and all the rest when it comes to the Ghana city?
If you take investors, and it's one major issue for them. And I think the central bank needs to bring more clarity in what band it
11
is.
to 12. The president told us that in a
11 to
meeting that they told him that 11 to 12, and he also came out to tell us.
Okay, if that is 11 to 12, and you can sustain 11 to 12 for 10 years, that's fine.
For 2 years now, they've done that.
Yeah, so then let them remain there for the next 10 years. Because you see, then investors will plan with a band of 11 to 12. It is when you begin to go above 12, then you create problems. And that is what links you back to the gold reserve. Because you see, if you don't have reserve, then you will not be able to maintain the band, fight to maintain the band when you need to. Because every central bank in the world intervenes in the market. Every central bank.
Japan did recently about more than 70 billion.
Everybody does. In fact, Japan's debt to GDP is over 100%. But their currency is stable. So I think that it's not the wrong thing to maintain 11 to 12, but let's make sure that band, we don't depart from it. We should stay in
Do
there.
we have what it takes to maintain this 11 to 12?
I think gradually we are. If you succeed to build 15 months import cover, you would be more than that. And that is where I know the fund, in fact, the fund is saying they shouldn't do 15 months, they should do 5 months. The same people. But I say, go to 15 months because we are more vulnerable. When we get to a stage where we have more value addition in the country, we can lower that. Not now.
Isn't the fund's problem about, again, the bit about the over-concentration of everything in one commodity?
No,
because if today gold prices drop to about 1,000 an ounce.
No, the fund's problem is that when you do that, you limit the government capacity to invest in the economy. They are not problem. It's all about the gold, the gold. Is that why are you putting all the money in reserve? Why don't you invest some? But one thing that we also need to do in this country, and which our government, unfortunately, is taking too long time to demonstrate, we need to aggressively bring the private sector into the economy. There are so many infrastructure projects that government is doing that government need not spend money on it. Government need not borrow money on it. Government should just go and get the private sector to take their risk and make the profit out of it.
Dr. Smith, when I come back, I'll be talking more about the private sector. I'm talking about the private sector and the economy, and also even infrastructure as well. This SPM Express Business Edition, as I engage economist Dr. Ishmael Jansen, we talk about sustaining the current economic gains and whether the threats. Some have said that we have seen this before. And are we going to flip it or we can sustain it? We'll be right back after this break.
It's admission time for the 2026-27 academic year, and St. Andrew's Group of Schools is calling on all JHS graduates and those who want to rewrite the AWASI exam. Over the years, St. Andrew's Group of Schools has been the #1 best private school in Ghana with excellent teaching staff and ultra-modern facilities that provide students with perfect environment for study. Wherever you are, there's a campus waiting for you. Choose your preferred school from the list and start your journey to success today. We are also open for SHS students who wish to change their schools. Here at St. Andrew's Group of Schools, students never fail. St. Andrew's Group of Schools has been absorbed into the free SHS program, offering quality education with free tuition. At St. Andrew's Group of Schools, we say perseverance leads to success.
Why? What's wrong?
Paper jam.
Introducing Ghana's leading pay-as-you-copy photocopier leasing company. Lease an A4, A3, heavy-duty or production machine and pay for only the copies made or design your own payment plan. Simple and tietia. That's not all. Incredibly, toners, repairs, maintenance, follow-me printing, centralized tracking all come free of charge. Remember, financial prudence is the name of the game. Folks, forget about the expensive gimmicks and be smart. Join the hundreds of satisfied clients across all the 16 regions and every sector of the economy and save over 60% of your printing costs. Visit us at www.valixlease.com or call 0244-644048. Be prudent and lease a copier. Terms and conditions apply. Valix Lease is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. Valix Lease, affordable document management solutions.
That's right. Did you see that? That is me. Without me, that tap would just be decoration.
That's so. So when the water comes, where exactly is it waiting? Pipe. I also didn't see any bedroom no. Me tank. Me na me kura.
At least I move water.
And I keep it safe.
Without me, nothing flows.
What's happening?
I bring the life.
I preserve it.
Hey, why is the water going on and off like this? Maybe I can do it alone.
Maybe I need you too.
Strong, reliable, built for every home.
Syntex pipes and tanks.
The perfect
water team.
Syntex, a year strong, a year tough.
Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we talk about the Ghanaian economy and what are the threats and how can we maintain getting the thoughts of somebody who has lived through several governments, an analyst, a business person, and someone who, again, I'll call him the chairman of all chairmen, working with a lot of private firms to try and stabilize things as well. In all these things, there are some of the manufacturing firms who are saying that the stability is good, yet to trickle down as well. How do we make sure that this stability trickles down to the private sector?
To the factory?
No, to the private sector.
To the private sector.
Yes, the macro numbers have stabilized, but there are still some manufacturing firms who are, complaining and all the rest. The people are complaining about the tax system and all the rest. How do we make sure that first it trickles down to the private sector for them to feel the impact of this? And also bringing them on board.
Yeah. I think there are a number of issues. And I mentioned earlier that when your currency appreciates very rapidly to the level that it was before, that's why the 11-12, I'm sure they did their matrix to see that was the point where the Ghana cedi will be competitive.
Or they can support it in terms of the reserves, yeah.
Otherwise, then you are attracting more imports. And when you have more imports, the big thing is that when you have weak tax administration, as we had before, then most of the imports are coming to not paying taxes and undercutting local manufacturers. And I mean, in my days in Unilever all the way, it was one of the biggest problems.
And it's still a problem.
And it's still a problem. But again, one of the things that this government is doing is digitizing the entire customs framework. And I think in the budget, the finance minister gave examples of undervaluation, under declaration, and all the rest of it, where a new application they have installed have unearthed huge losses. People haven't actually got away with taxes that they should have paid. Not that it reduces government revenue, but it also undermines the local manufacturers, because then those goods are entering the country at a lower price than the local manufacturer. So we need to make sure that we don't disadvantage local manufacturing by allowing cheaper imports into the country. It's a major issue. I mean, you can talk to those who produce copper cables. Yeah? You can talk about the FMCG businesses. Even I learned in the budget, even those who bring in wines and beer and the rest of it, the under-declaration is as much as 1/10. So if you are producing beer here and somebody is importing beer and is only declaring 1/10 of the value for tax, how can the person here paying all the taxes? And meanwhile, you agree by importing, you are creating jobs in somebody's country. You are not creating jobs in Ghana. So we need to resolve the whole issue of smuggling, the whole issue of customs maladministration, to make sure that the playing field is even. The second is that we have become overly regulated country. The industry in this country is overly regulated. Look, every government that comes and is under pressure, then blames it on the manufacturer and puts in more regulations and regulations and regulations. It happened in the last episode with cement. Yes. That they suddenly they were the ones to blame. When the currency was jumping like a horse, they were putting the blame on that. And then therefore now, if you want to fix a problem, come to the ministry. Let us, I mean, where? So we should overhaul the whole regulatory environment in industry, because we are heavily over-regulated. In fact, there are times when you want to create a whole department to go through whether you are, see? And then the next thing is to make sure that the companies themselves accept the responsibility to modernize. Most of our companies are using 30-year-old, 40-year-old equipment, technology, high energy consuming plant and machinery. I mean, when somebody is using technology that can produce maybe 10,000 units per hour, you are now sitting there, calculating. So they need to modernize. Now, how can they modernize? Because they don't have access to cheap capital. Because they need capital to modernize. So we need to have a whole, view of how we support local industry to rise again.
How do we also bring private sector on board? Because there are some who are saying that sometimes they feel alienated in all these things. And some are saying that if the economy will thrive, if this stability can really be maintained, the private sector holds the key. The real job generation is coming from the private sector and not government.
Yeah, that's true.
What do we need to do to bring private sector on board for them to play their role?
Yes, I think the government must take a decision. First of all, if we take the area of infrastructure, government must take a definitive role of how much they are going to get involved in, because it's not every road that government must borrow money to construct, right? If we take the oil palm project, it's going to be entirely private sector driven, right? It's not going to be government. Government role will be acquire the land and maybe take equity, and then, but the rest of it will be left with the private sector. So government must create space. Right now, if you talk to people in government, everything is government. And yeah, government doesn't have the money, right? Even education. Today, there are more private universities than public universities. But what do you compare the quality, and how do you even ensure that they are delivering the quality of people that industry require for today and for the future? So government has to just, we used to say in the past, that I will still say today, they must create the environment. But the environment is still not there. You see, there are still so many answers. That's why I'm saying, I said earlier, you need stability for 10 years to rebuild the trust. For people to walk in, I mean, when I came out of university, all the Unilevers and Nestle's and BPZ, they were all built at the time. Since that time today, tell me, which one big manufacturing company has been built in Ghana, apart from the few local ones, you know, Casapreco and the others? How many? So because if I go to that country and I put up a factory, we have a 40,000 ton oil processing plant in Tema. They can't even get palm oil to process. So they have to import palm oil. And when they import the palm oil and they pay the duty, those who bring the finished palm oil don't pay the duty, they smuggle. So why should that person come and build another factory in here? So government needs to understand that private sector is not Father Christmas. They will not come here and risk their money if the government is not going to make sure that the environment is supportive and that the playing field is the same. Ghana JIPC is supposed to be one-stop shop. Now they are more regulatory than promotional. Yeah. That's what they do. So I'm saying that sometimes I feel strongly that either we are not ready for private sector leadership. MPS in Tema, the Terminal 3, is 100% private sector. Can you see the efficiencies there? Can you see what they are doing? Compare that to Ghana Ports and Harbours, whatever, the equivalent that belongs to the state. Why? Look at the turnaround time. So we can, all the cement factories that came lately, look, I want to go there, but why? It's cement to 30 million people. We have 19 cement factories. To do what?
It's something else. I know you are a strong Pan-Africanist and somebody who believes in integration and all the rest. When I come back from this break, I'll be zooming in a very, very controversial area that I want to get your thoughts on. This SPM Express Business Edition. We'll be right back after this break.
In Ghana today, when a civil servant is caught in corruption, he is either suspended or dismissed. But when a political leader is caught, all we hear is, oh, we are setting up a committee and let us allow investigations to work. And before you realize, their names have been cleared, quiet.
My opponent obviously generated their point from Alibaba.com. Otherwise, they would have discovered that 74% of all corruption cases in Africa are as a result of civil servants and not the politicians, as reported by Transparency International in the year 2020. 2022.
The battle of brilliant ideas is back. The 2026 Love FM Cal Chaco Toothpaste High Schools debate is finally here, bringing together the brightest young minds from across the Ashanti region to challenge opinions, defend facts, and inspire a new generation of leaders. Watch students from some of the region's finest senior high schools go head-to-head on thought-provoking national and global issues as they battle for glory, pride, and the ultimate debate championship. Love FM Cal Chaco Toothpaste High Schools debate is in partnership with the Ashanti Regional SRC, CHAS, and the Regional Directorate of GES. Love FM Cal Chaco Toothpaste High Schools debate, trumpeting the voice of young ones on issues of national interest.
Powered by
Corporate Ghana, are you ready? The biggest gathering of Corporate Ghana is back. It's time for the Joy Sports Invitational 2026, where competition meets networking, fun meets fitness, and champions are made. Battle it out in football. Take your shot in the thrilling CEO penalty shootout. Test your speed in the lime and spoon race. Laugh your way through the unisex sack race. Pull together in the tag of peace. Show your accuracy in the female penalty shootout. Flex your strength in the arm wrestling and enjoy many more exciting activities. Join us on Saturday, 29th August 2026 at the University of Ghana Stadium. We kick off the day with a high-energy aerobic session from 6 a.m. So come early, warm up, and get ready for an unforgettable day. Ready to register? Call or WhatsApp Sleving on 0242-376445. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament 2026 is proudly sponsored by Toyota, Superior Quality, Minerals Commission, the regulator of the mining industry in Ghana. Ayuda, Ghana's #1 services app, Abako, Services Bibri, Latex Foam, your partner for life, Copia Leasing, Renting and Maintenance Services, Virtual Security Africa, Complete Security Solutions. Joy Sports Invitational 2026. Let's compete, connect, and celebrate the true spirit of Corporate Ghana.
The pressure is on, the clock is ticking, and everything is riding on one dish. Season 5 brings you tougher challenges, sharper judges, and the most fearless young chefs Ghana has ever seen before. One will sweat, one will cry, and one will lift up that trophy. Who's got what it takes? This is where the next generation of great chefs get their start, and this season, they are not holding back. So pull up a seat, or grab a popcorn, or better still, join us in the kitchen. Big Chef Junior Season 5 shows every Sunday at 4 p.m. only on Joy Prime. Now let's see what these kids are really made of.
Big Chef Junior Season 5 is proudly brought to you by Frital Vegetable Oil. You deserve a life of goodness. Fortune Spread, yummy delicious, always on point. Gino truly cares. Didi Shito, Efia Dienye, Sankofa Natural Spices, no salt, no MSG, no preservatives. Genie Mayonnaise Premium, Ghana's best-selling mayonnaise. Left Signature, driving progress through technology and engineering excellence. Wisdom Salt, bringing food to life.
Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition. We talk about stabilizing the economy. What should be done to sustain these current trends that we are seeing? Because some will say that we have seen it before. What are the threats to it? You're talking about the economy, you're talking about private sector. And now let's talk about Africa, integration, and the threats to the Ghanaian economy. Dr. Ishmael Yamson, what do you make of what is happening in South Africa? Because some might say that Ghana is not an island. It has an implication on the Ghanaian economy. Are you worried by what happens in South Africa? The xenophobic attacks on Ghanaians being returned to this economy? And whether we've even done enough as an economy, receiving these people. And I also come to a company that you chair. But first, let me get your thoughts on this xenophobic attacks.
No, it's what's happening in South Africa is of a big worry to me and to many people. And I know that a big worry to Ghanaians and to the government of Ghana. I was in South Africa 3 weeks ago to speak on African integration and immigration, and I meant no words. It was.
Did you speak truth to power?
I spoke truth to power, and I told them clearly that even if all the foreigners were to leave South Africa, their problems will still remain. It's a matter of a state failure. They have badly managed their economy. Even the apartheid government left them an economy better than what they have today. And yet they now turn around and blame foreigners. When I was growing up, the area from Foreign Affairs, the new Foreign Affairs, all the way down to Bellagio, was called Freedom Fighters Village. And Nkrumah built the whole area to bring freedom fighters to train in Ghana. People from Zimbabwe, from South Africa, from Uganda, from whatever. Using Ghana's money after apartheid. I'll give you an example. In Unilever, for instance, the highest trained person in Unilever, South Africa, was a supervisor. So we had to send people from here, from Unilever Ghana, to go and help them in South Africa. I went to school with South African children, students, pupils, whose fathers were here as people who have run away from South Africa. So for them to suddenly rise up against, and that's why Museveni says, for 60 years, he supported the ANC. And now the foreigners are the criminals, the foreigners are the ones who are taking their jobs, the foreigners are the ones who are doing all the bad things, and therefore they should go away. I told them there, I said, we have experience in Ghana, but even in us, we were decent enough to give the foreigners time to either regularize their stay or leave. Here, you have mobs and hooligans, people you yourself call criminals, chasing Ghanaians and Nigerians and Zimbabweans and Ugandans and violently to send them away. No, it's bad. And at the same time, we are talking about Africa free trade, continental, whatever type area. So the trade will come with what? Horses and ships. How do you trade without people? You cannot trade without people. You want the trade, but you don't want the people who bring the trade.
Look, I asked a question about speaking truth to power because in all these things, some have also blamed the politicians in that country for not openly condemning it. And I'll go to a very sensitive area, which I know you don't want to talk about, but we will talk about it. Some are also blaming the corporate entities in South Africa, MTN Global. You were a chairman in Ghana here. We didn't see them even issue a statement to condemn that. Some are saying, whilst we blame the politicians, the corporate sector also kept mute, and all these things were going on.
No, actually, that is not true. The corporate sector in South Africa has been very outspoken against it. The MTN chairman spoke directly, and he condemned it in no uncertain terms. Here in Ghana, we have a South Africa Ghana Business House Chamber. We issued a statement and condemned it. What I must admit is that if you come to Ghana, MTN is big. Yeah. And therefore, everybody would expect MTN
to come out
up. Exactly.
And issue a statement.
Yes, and I apologize that we haven't done that. But sometimes when you belong to a chamber, and the chamber has made a statement, when you step aside and give your own statement, you are being seen.
That
yes,
MTN is big. It's
but
huge.
I understand.
A statement condemning this
definitely. And let me say now here that we condemn it unreservedly. We have nothing to do with it. We dissociate ourselves from it completely. We have over 120,000 Ghanaians as shareholders in MTN Ghana. MTN Ghana is a corporate citizen of Ghana. It is not MTN South Africa. Even the group itself, its shareholders are more American than South African. It only happens that the headquarters is there. But what is happening in South Africa is bad. And I can tell you that we are angry. I mean, I am particularly angry because the politicians in South Africa should have known that they cannot talk about integration, encourage their companies to invest in Africa, and at the same time treat the rest of Africa as if it's their toilet roll, they can walk on it anytime they like, right? So, yes, we should have done it long term, but it is not also entirely correct that we have not made a statement. We haven't made a statement as MTN Ghana. That is correct. And we should have, and I admit.
Dr. Yamson, I mean, speaking in the capacity as chairman of MTN Ghana, you condemn these things.
I condemn it. I dissociate MTN Ghana from it completely. We have nothing to do with it. We just think that it belongs to the Stone Age. It's not something that anybody should have been contemplating doing it. Because the Ghanaians who are there, Ghanaians are very law-abiding. Today, 2 Ghanaians their lives are perished, right? So we condemn it. Our group chairman has condemned it, and we condemn it, and we dissociate ourselves completely from it. We have nothing to do with it. Indeed, let me tell you, George, one thing that maybe it has not been also visible is what have we done to support.
And I'll come to that one also, because Dr. Yamson, there are some Ghanaians who are very bitter, and maybe bitter might be even an understatement. There are some who are saying that if they are doing this into Ghanaians there, let's target their businesses here in Ghana. MTN Ghana, it's a huge target. Stanbic Ghana is a huge target. Absa Ghana is a huge target. What do you respond to people who are bitter, and I'll say that it's an understatement, that say that if you're doing this thing to even Ghanaians who are legal Ghanaians there, attacking Ghanaian business in South Africa, let's reciprocate?
But, well, that will be a genuine feeling, but it will not help us, and it will not help Ghana. I've told you that 120,000 Ghanaians have shares in MTN. Every employee in MTN, maybe 98% of employees in MTN are Ghanaians, right? All our other dealers are Ghanaians. So if you target MTN Ghana, you can target it, but at the end of the day, you are destroying something that you should protect. Because we should protect MTN Ghana for what it does. If we talk about our contribution in terms of taxes, MTN is the biggest taxpayer in this country. So MTN is a corporate citizen of Ghana, incorporated in Ghana, operates under Ghana laws. It is just unfortunate that the politicians in South Africa have not been able to stand up to condemn what is happening in South Africa, and we now have to suffer a collateral damage out of that. But nobody, and I will say it, no business person, no South African business person that I know or company supports what is going on. And I must say again that we dissociate ourselves from it completely. We're against it. I have been in South Africa myself personally to speak against it as chairman of MTN Ghana. If I have done it there, why should I say I support it? I can't. And I would never support it.
Again, sorry for my line of question. I know this is something that you don't really want to talk about. But there are some who are saying that, I mean, if the South African government failed to protect registered, lawful Ghanaian businesses in South Africa, why should the government of Ghana do that for the same South African business in Ghana here?
No, because you see, the two wrongs don't make one good. Maybe the kind of businesses in South Africa that the Ghanaians have are not significant to their economy as MTN Ghana is to the economy of Ghana. So, and I know Ghanaians, we are rational people. We are very rational people. And I think that Ghanaians are not the kind of people who will retaliate simply because you have done something against Ghanaians there. We have to be able to separate what is happening in South Africa by South Africans to Ghanaians to what, because the MTN Ghana has not done anything to anybody in Ghana, here in Ghana, has not reneged on any of its commitments in this country. Let him tell you. And there's no company in Ghana that does that. Every year we put 1% of our tax, 1% of our profit after tax into a foundation that we invest in social investment. We invest in hospitals, we invest in schools, we invest in girls' education, we invest in women's empowerment. There's no company like that. So, yes, what is happening in South Africa is bad, but we need not equate that to MTN Ghana. No, that will be, for me, rather killing the very golden goose that lays the golden eggs.
When the profits are made, they repatriate those profits to South Africa.
Pardon?
Do they repatriate the profits to South Africa and help the South African economy?
No. Again, that is a mistake.
Yeah.
Because the shareholders of the group are not 100% South African. In fact, there are more shareholders American shareholders in the group than South African shareholders. So, I mean, this is open, you can check.
It's a listed entity, you can check.
So, it's shared. But except that the company is headquartered in South Africa and it was started there. But the shareholding is not largely South African. It's just like here. So, what I'm saying is that we should see MTN Ghana as a corporate citizen of Ghana and see what good is MTN Ghana doing for Ghana and Ghanaians. That is what should be important to us.
Talking about what is good for Ghana and what MTN is doing for Ghana, when the Ghanaians were brought into this economy, and I'm still going to areas where I know it's a listed entity, some are saying that we saw a lot of corporate institutions behind the scenes move and support these Ghanaians. Again, there are people who don't see MTN Ghana here and they say, of course, we said it, it's a South African company and they are supporting these things. What has MTN Ghana done or was doing for these Ghanaians who had to return home? I know some private individuals who even contributed financially to bring these Ghanaians back home.
And I must thank all those and I must commend those companies. George, it's something that I regret myself because we should have moved faster. There may be sometimes when you want to be too perfect, you lose time. But when the issue broke, and I can tell you, the board immediately decided that we will set aside 10 million cedis to welcome as a welcome back. But we then later realized that, look, Okay, you give them data, you give them this, and then when they have spent it, what next? So maybe we should change the framework a bit. So what we then began to decide is when many of them have lost their businesses, many of them. Some understand they were allowed only 2 suitcases to when they are on their return. So how do we create a fund that will be used to help these people to start life all over again? Is that, let's say, when you give a man a fish, it's better than teaching him how to fish.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that? So that 10 million that we're going to use to welcome them, that putting that into action delayed because we had to draw it back because we needed to add additional 10 million that we would put in a fund to set. I think the mistake that we made was not to have engaged the Minister of Foreign Affairs immediately about this. But everybody knows. I mean, we had discussions many times with the sector minister. So it's not that we do not want to do it. It's not that we don't care. It's not that we don't have empathy. But we think that we need to do it in a more different, more permanent way that will allow these people to rebuild their lives when they are back in Ghana. So those arrangements have already been made. Those arrangements have already been made.
And when would that be advanced towards people?
I've been asked this question, you were asking me a number of times, and I know that sometimes when you are big, your internal bureaucracy can also delay a few things. But we have not forgotten. We will do it. We will do it in a big way. We will do it in a way that will make more meaning. Because, look, George, it will be nice, very nice, to have stood there, give everybody. And those who did it, Telesa and the others, I really congratulate them. Pentecost Church, I congratulate them.
There were private individuals who actually paid huge monies to bring these Ghanaians back home.
I commend all of them. But I understand that. What I'm saying is that we have our program, and that program will be a program that will allow them to rebuild their lives into the medium to long term.
So that support will come.
Definitely.
The internal processes are being finalized.
Yes.
And it doesn't show that MTN Ghana doesn't care.
Not at all.
Not interested in all these things. And those who draw the link that, that's a South African company.
If there's anybody who should care, it is us. But it's just that we changed the mode of our package, and that created the delay. But not that we don't know. I mean, if you want to see evidence, I can show you the evidence.
I don't doubt you, Orthodox. but for you, has all this thing, and I'll look at private sector, and I'll look at MTN in Ghana, affected the brand in any way in terms of the goodwill? Because until today, I've worked on your financials several times. I haven't taken the pain to scrutinize the shareholding. But there are some who still cannot devoid MTN Ghana together with the APSA, together with the Stambik and all the rest. And what has happened to some Ghanaians, especially some who said what broke the camel's back was those 2 lives that we lost during this period.
And not only that, I heard last week that the South African government wrote to Ghana
pay for it. Yeah.
That we should pay.
I'm aware of that one.
Yes. I mean, look, I don't want to get involved in the politics of South Africa, but it's a great disappointment for me, personally, because I expected the South African government, their president, to stand up and condemn it. The president said it is an African problem. So our president says, if it's an African problem, let's go and discuss at the AU. Then you go and say, no, you can't, we won't allow it to be discussed the African problem. And that's the dishonesty of it. It's unfortunate. But do you then say you throw the water away with the baby? Do you say, because the South African politicians are messing up their own country, we should also destroy a country that we own here. Because I've told you just now, all the pension funds have their funds in MTN Ghana. Because they are getting good returns, right? So the company here is performing ethically and empathically with the people of Ghana. We spend more money investing in the communities than any single company in Ghana, right? So it is not the culture of the company here. It's not the culture of South Africa. We have a totally different culture. And our culture says, in the country where we work, we should be a force for good. And that is our philosophy. But it's unfortunate that these things have not come to open. So people don't know what we are planning to do. And therefore, it appears that we don't care, we haven't shown, we haven't acted quickly enough. But I can assure you that we condemn it. We dissociate ourselves from it. We have nothing to do with it. The group has nothing to do with it. The group chairman has condemned it. I have been to South Africa to condemn it. What else shall we do to demonstrate that, we are not part of what is going on? We are not.
Dr. Yampton, as we try and wrap up this discussion as well, how committed is MTN Ghana to local content and local ownership as well? I know that MTN has started something, but there are some who also think that enough has not been done in terms of local content and then local ownership as well.
Local ownership, we voluntarily went up to 30%. You show me, even the mining companies, show me one that has local shareholder of 30%. If that's not a demonstration of good faith, then I'm lost. All our vendors are Ghanaians here in this country. And I can tell you that if you go back, people whose life depend on MTN Ghana, that's why I'm saying, if we say, because of what is happening in South Africa, we should destroy MTN Ghana, it's not that you will destroy one company, but the lives you will destroy are many. They run in hundreds of thousands. So we would operate as an ethical company in Ghana. That is what we are supposed to do. We will operate here under the laws of Ghana. We will operate here committed to the people of Ghana, and we operate here as a force for good. That is our philosophy. And that is what we have been doing. That is what we intend to do, and we'll do it forever. I mean, for as long as I remain chairman, that's what we'll do.
As you wrap up on this discussion, there are some who have said that the South African issue has brought to the fore and test of our question FDIs and even foreign direct investments and then foreign ownership in this economy as well. And some are saying that it's a great time to push for Ghanaian ownership of critical sectors of the economy. What do you make of this school of thought, an argument being pushed that is a test that if this economy can run very well, we need to push more Ghanaian ownership of critical sectors?
Well, I mean, if we are talking about natural resources, you will still having Ghanaian ownership is not a bad thing. So as long as the Ghanaian can run the business and the rest of it, although I can tell you, I've also seen in my lifetime the similar motivations which didn't go very well. But there's nothing wrong with it. But we must also remember that international capital will always have a big part to play in any company in the world. Don't forget, MTN is a multinational company. That's one thing we all forget. It's not a South African company. It's a multinational company headquartered in South Africa. It's just like today. If I ask you who owns Heineken,
it's multinational.
It's a multinational company.
No, it's not.
But when you talk about Heineken, everybody think about Holland. But that is its home. That is That's the way you have to see MTN. If you talk about Guinness, who owns Guinness? Go to the stock exchange and see the shareholders, the global Guinness. So while we push for Ghanaian ownership, let us always remember that at the end of the day, what we look for is value from the investment. For me, it doesn't matter to me who owns it. So long as whoever owns it creates value, respects our laws, right? And operates ethically and contributes to the well-being of the community in which it works. I don't care who owns it. It's just like, didn't we start our independence with state-owned enterprises? We had 375 state-owned enterprises. Even at that time, Nkrumah still made room for multinational companies to play. And I remember very, very well, when Unilever offered Nkrumah 40% of Unilever, he turned it down. He said he would build his own para company to compete with Unilever. So there's nothing wrong having foreign investment. It's good to have foreign investment, direct foreign investment. But we must make sure that they play, first of all, the agreements we sign. We sign the agreements. We must make sure that it favors us, that it favors both parties. The person who is raising the capital, even if a Ghanaian is owning it, that Ghanaian will have to raise capital. Right? That Ghanaian will have to raise the capital. So if the Ghanaian doesn't manage the capital to raise value, in the end, the investment will go down. So I don't think that we should be fixated about it should be owned by Ghanaians. We can have combination of Ghanaians and foreigners coming together to own it. We can say, if you go to the Middle East, they will tell you, you would have 40% local ownership as a law. So you have to have 40% local ownership. So we have to work it out in a way that benefits us. But when we say that we are only going to allow local people, then let us also make sure that the local people will be able to raise the capital so that we also don't end up, not making use of the resources we have.
Dr. Ishmael Yamson, I really appreciate your time. We veered off into an area that you didn't want to go, but I appreciate your time so much. This is a PM Express Business Edition. As I engage economists, a business consultant, a business guru, and I'll call him the chairman of all chairmen, having had stints as chairman of several listed entities and companies in Ghana. This has been PM Express Business Edition. She talked about the economy, private sector, and development in South Africa and how it's impacting on the Ghanaian economy. My name is George Wiafe. This has been PM Express Business Edition. Have a great day.
Menstrual hygiene remains a significant barrier to girls' education and well-being, particularly in some disadvantaged communities. UNESCO estimates, for example, that about 1 in 10 girls in sub-Saharan Africa misses school during menstruation. And in some areas in our own country, far too many schoolgirls are forced to use improvised and sometimes substandard materials because sanitary products are unaffordable.
Menstruation is a natural biological process, but for millions of girls in Ghana, it is not just about blood, it is about shame, fear, poverty, and missed dreams. Over the years, UNICEF Ghana, through its WASH and adolescent, gender and youth programs, has supported menstrual hygiene initiatives. Yet, according to the Ghana Statistical Service Mixed Survey, 9 out of 10 girls in Ghana miss school during menstruation due to cost, stigma, and lack of facilities. Girls often lack safe spaces, accurate information before first menstrual period, and affordable sanitary materials. Many resort to rags, toilet rolls, and papers, especially in rural areas, which sometimes lead to exploitation. In response, government allocated 292.4 million Ghana cedis in the 2025 budget for free sanitary pads in primary and secondary schools.
I promise to reintroduce the distribution of free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools. The 2025 budget statement allocated 292,400,000 Ghana cedis for this commitment, and I launched this initiative on the 24th of April 2025. Procurement is ongoing for over 6 million sanitary pads, with each student receiving 3 packets per term at the basic level and 4 packets per semester at the secondary level. Distribution will be done through the Ghana Education Service structure to all 261 districts, ensuring that no beneficiary is left out.
Girls are still missing school during their periods. For many, the reasons are painfully simple: no pads, no privacy, no water, but overwhelming shame. In the Ashanti region, I met Amina, a head porter at the bustling Edum Central Business District. Her job is tedious, but she keeps moving. Each trip means a little more money for survival. She is a mother of 3, 1 boy and 2 teenage girls who have started menstruating. Amina says she's unable to afford sanitary pads for herself and her 2 daughters because the price is too high for her.
If your menses come, sometimes you can cut the distance, the pine, and what am I going to say? Like you want to find 1 cedi or 2 cedi and buy something to eat, you won't get that money. So if you didn't get that money and you are, but you can't find money to buy this thing, pad.
The sanitary pad.
So it's difficult for us.
So when you don't get the money to buy the sanitary pads, what do? You
can take this thing, T road or this thing, what am I going to
Papers?
The paper or this thing, rag. So all that is infection for us.
Amina recalls a painful moment when menstruating while carrying a heavy load with no access to proper materials or a place to clean up.
If you come to work, there is no money to eat. And if you menstruate, you can't find money to buy pad. Sometimes you carry the pan and you want to find 1 cedi or 2 cedis and buy something to eat, but you won't get that money. And if you don't find that money to buy food to eat, then you can't also find money to even purchase sanitary pads.
Her story mirrors that of many market women. In several instances, when caregivers cannot meet this basic need, girls are pushed into transactional sex, exchanging their bodies for money to buy sanitary pads. Menstrual poverty becomes a driver of sexual exploitation. Sister Olivia Omo is a director at the Safe Child Advocacy in the Ashanti region. She tells me the horrifying situation of many young girls in the region who are unable to afford a sanitary pad during menstruation.
You know, sometimes very disheartening. You see girls come up to us and you ask them, why are you looking so miserable today? Why are you so dull? Why are you so sad? And after much trust, they are able to share with you that that in menses they don't have sanitary towels, and so they can't go around the markets to carry load as usual because they are afraid they will be soiled. And we even have cases of girls who have come dripping and crying too, because when people see them and start embarrassing them, the next thing is for them to cry because they know they cannot afford to buy sanitary towels to keep themselves well.
According to her, the condition is terrifying and surprising to encounter in today's Ghana.
It's just a pity that buying sanitary towel for some young girls in vulnerable situations, not just those on the street, but even some of our girls that we sponsor in schools, when they have to bring the issue of sanitary towel and you add it up to the costs of the prospectus that you have to get for them, you discover that over time it becomes burdensome. And the girls are sometimes ashamed to even talk about sanitary towel as a need when they are listing their numerous demands of the school.
The story of Amina does not end in the market. It follows us into the classrooms. Girls play and laugh, but glance nervously at their uniforms. Here at Kokobin MA Basic School, fear hangs quietly. The fear of blood stain, the fear of ridicule, the fear of missing yet another lesson.
Working closely with my SHEP coordinator, sometimes we get into contact with these girls, and sometimes the story they tell is very appalling, and sometimes you want to even to weep because the children find themselves in very difficult situation during their menstrual cycle. There was a situation whereby we discovered that they were even using some of their exercise books. Yes, at school, when they see that happens, then they will tear some part of their exercise books and then try to manage of it.
School records show that many girls in their menstrual cycle miss classes regularly and some drop out entirely. We met Abigail, a teenage girl in her final year of junior high school. She lives with her grandmother. There is love in that home, but no money to purchase a sanitary pad during menses. As she speaks, tears flow freely. Each tear carries missed lessons, missed exams, and missed dreams.
I stay with my grandmother, and we don't have money. Anytime my flow begins, I depend on my sister's pad. If she doesn't have some, I use her toilet roll.
Abigail tells how, as a user of rags, she manages to keep them clean.
I don't just have one rag, I have two. So when the other gets dirty, I wash and take the second one.
Another student, Susanna Cheibafo, is just 14. For Susanna, menstruation does not last 5 days. It lasts a month because fear keeps her away.
When my menstrual period happened, my mother don't have money, so my mother used to go to some place and collect toilet roll and give it to me. When she comes, I stop school. I don't come to school about 1 month's time or 2 weeks. Then I use the toilet roll.
Is it just the toilet roll that you use?
Sometimes when my mother did not get the toilet roll, I use rag. When I come to school, I miss the subject they have learned. I don't understand anything, and it have get me a lot of problems. So I need help to get sanitary pad. When I get it, I can come to school and learn and get all the understanding.
People perceive that if we are in the city, some of these shouldn't be encountered. But I can tell you with a number of experience I've had all over these years since I became a teacher that it has been a very great challenge in the school. Why? Because when it comes to the government school, majority are living with other people. It's few of them who are living with their parents. So those who have been brought from the village, the north, all over the country to come and live with people to assist them in their household chores, that has been brought here. It's become a challenge because they don't get what they want. So some of them end up using newsprint to that extent. Some of them uses their exercise book.
Medical evidence shows that poor menstrual hygiene increases reproductive tract infections. Blood loss without proper nutrition exposes girls to anemia. But beyond health, something else is lost: confidence. "17-year-old Priscilla runs towards the school toilet, clutching a paper. Inside, there is no water. The floor is wet. The smell is heavy. Yet, she must clean herself as the examination waits.
It's me at a and small with Sabia and to maybe I need.
Inside this toilet, I use neat racks, sometimes papers and toilet roll. But for the racks, I have to be changing it periodically. This is because I don't have any pad and I don't have money to buy some. My grandmother doesn't have money. The day I have pad, I come to school, but when I use racks, I stay home.
Adam me pad and me best school. Sa pad na me use di aba. But se me ni pad sa da na me best school. Me use ntuma go no ofie. Se na be ye be boa me.
We have the challenge of wash facilities. This is a basic school made up of the kindergarten, the primary section, and the GHS. But there's only an old dilapidated toilet facility. It's a very big challenge to the school, and even in terms of menstrual hygiene, it's difficult for even girls to come to school because even those with pads, where to change, there are no changing rooms for them. So they would rather stay home and manage during their menstrual cycle. So wash facilities is a very big challenge of the school.
Now, what you see behind me is an uncompleted school block that has turned into a hideout for some of these girls who undergo their menstrual period. Up there are some young girls who whisper to me that one of their colleagues is menstruating, and for fear of stigmatization, this is where she has to go to change herself during the school period. Now, it is likely that for her, with her colleagues around her, she's using not a sanitary pad, but a rag, a toilet roll, or an exercise book. Government allocated over 292 million Ghana cedis in 2025 to provide free sanitary pads. Yet, here, the reality remains unchanged.
Honestly, it's not enough. Why? Because I am their girl child and shop coordinator and been sharing the sanitary pads to these students. I remember I have to give them at least 3 or 2 pads here goes a student. I have come down to their level, like I'm their mom, their friend, their everything. So they open up to me. Some of them are heavy flow students. They have heavy bleeding. So even 2 sanitary pads can take them just a month. So I asked myself, what about the rest of the month? But I realized that when it came, we saw some slight differences in the population because they started coming to school because at least some of these things will be provided. But when they get finished, that was one of our challenges. They go back to the old style again because they won't get access to it.
But where systems fail, communities sometimes rise. Despite this growing crisis, there is a tide turning. Just as the ocean shapes the land, a new movement is shaping the future of young girls in the central region. We drive from the coast of Winneba to the Ejumaku-Enyamesiam district to a small farming community called Obontare. It was once known for school dropouts and teenage pregnancies. But out of hardship, the community built something powerful, a pad bank. Not a donation center run by outsiders, not a short-lived project tied to promises, but a community-owned lifeline, centralized and safeguarded by the traditional authorities themselves. At funerals, weddings, naming ceremonies, and community gatherings, a simple appeal is made. Coins drop into bowls, envelopes are passed quietly. Every contribution, small or large, becomes a shield for a girl yet to come. Every month, sanitary pads are purchased. This initiative goes beyond access. Under the supervision of the chiefs, records of adolescent girls are carefully kept, not to police them, but to protect them. Their menstrual cycles are discreetly monitored. When a girl misses her flow, the system responds not with punishment, but with intervention, counseling, and care.
This teenage pregnancy, too much in our village. Actually,
teenage pregnancy was a big challenge in our community previously. In 2023 alone, we could record 5 to 6 pregnancies from teenage girls who sat for the basic education certificate examination until we came up with an idea of establishing a pad bank which will supply sanitary pads to the girls but also be a means to track whether they are pregnant or not.
At the Obontare Basic School, this innovation has done more than keep girls in class. It has changed destinies.
Time to share the sanitary pad, please.
Among the many lives touched is Gloria Sam. She was just 14 years old when she experienced her first menstruation. At school, Gloria is known as diligent, focused, determined, but that was not always enough. Before the pad bank, Gloria says her period days were filled with fear.
Things were difficult previously. I am shy, so when I come to school, I get scared that blood will stain my uniform, so I stayed inside and not enjoy the break period. The boys used to laugh at me while I'm stained. When I report them to my madam, she tells me to go home and change myself. But even when I get home, I had no pad to use.
But today, the story has changed. With access to pads, Gloria walks into class with confidence. Her attendance is consistent. Her performance has improved. She no longer fears her body. For Gloria's mother, Mami Sam, the relief is visible. She says the pad bank has lifted a burden many parents silently carried.
This intervention from the community prevents men from deceiving our children. It has equally helped parents because if your daughter asks for something and you don't get it for her, she is easily deceived by men and it destroys their future. This intervention really comes to block this. The chief gives the pad to the children or their parents. This helps us know that the girl is not pregnant.
Madam Dorothy Aka speaks with excitement. She has seen the struggle firsthand. Instances when girls ask for permission to leave class and never returning for the day.
I remember one scene, that was last term. A girl who had soiled herself sent a friend to come and tell me that she wants to go to the house and change. And I asked the reason for the changing, and she was saying she was not having sanitary pad and she used the olden time, the rag, and her uniform is soiled, so she has to go home and change. And going home, she's not coming back. So that is the incident I remember. And bringing this sanitary pad thing is going to help them a lot.
But today, she says the community intervention has reduced absenteeism, improved participation. For her, the pad bank is not just a health solution, but an educational breakthrough.
So what they normally do is go in for this boyfriend so that the boys will give them money to purchase the sanitary pad. And sometimes because they don't get the money and they don't get the support from the homes, they come to school in this rag, the olden day thing. So I think the sanitary pad coming to the students will help a lot, especially those that are in the cycle at the moment.
The story of Obontere is not told in emotions alone, but it is written in results. In 2024 and 2025, the community recorded not a single school dropout linked to menstruation. For Headmaster Isaac Obing, the difference is undeniable. Before the initiative, he recalls losing bright students, especially girls, without explanation.
Taking that initiative, in fact, it is helping we the teachers. So sometimes we get the full complement of the students to teach, rather than those days when they are in the menstrual cycle or when they are in the menstruation period, they move to the house. Instead of doing that, they also disturb their academic performance.
A UNICEF study now supports what Obontere already knows, a confirmation that this initiative works. Parkwesi Wood, a water and sanitation officer with UNICEF, reviews data showing the intervention's impact on attendance, hygiene, and adolescent well-being. He describes it as result-oriented, scalable, and deeply rooted in community ownership.
The important thing about this is that it resolves a big gap, which is that girls are not able to afford basic necessities. And so they sometimes go into relationships as a way to, get a supporter to help them pay for these necessities. The data is very supportive. Data that we have supports this. We did a study in 2023, and we found out that amongst adolescent girls, about 51% said that they can't afford sanitary pads. And even a further 20% said that sometimes they can afford it, but sometimes they can't. So you can see there's a lot of adolescent girls who say that sanitary pads are unaffordable. And if their parents are not providing it, they do find other ways to provide for themselves.
The district chief executive for Jumaku Enyanesiam, Andrew Kojo Donko, believes this model must not remain in Obontere. He is calling on assembly members across the district to adopt it.
It promotes healthy condition for the girls. And you see, we have talked about this initiative for so long in the country that we should have this for our ladies. Because you see, when you come to Edmaku, we have smaller communities where living condition is very difficult. To acquire or to buy a sanitary pad is something hard for some of the parents to do. So it's a good initiative by the government to provide the girls with sanitary pad so that wherever you live, in the urban area or the smaller community, you can have access to sanitary pad when the ladies get into their period of that.
Sister Olivia Omo echoes that call, applauding the community's vision and urging nationwide adaptation.
I think that is wonderful and credible, and it's a model that we can all imitate. Such communities really stand out, and they should be, in fact, they should be brought to limelight to be appreciated for such initiative. So it's a good model, and I think we should really promote it.
In Obantur, parts are more than parts. They are protection, they are prevention, they are power. And in a small community that chose to act, girls are staying in school, dreams are staying alive, and futures are being rewritten, one part at a time.
Presenting the ultimate bragging rights in Vanderbilt School.
It's that time of the year on the academic calendar. The National Science and Maths Quiz is back and bigger than ever. The nation's brightest minds, the sharpest reflexes, and the question that changes everything. For the first time, over 170 schools enter the arena. More schools, more rivalries. Only one school will lift the trophy and claim the bragging rights of Ghana's champion of science and maths. Who has what it takes? Catch the contest on Joy News, Joy Prime, Joy FM, and across all our digital platforms. Date 20th August to 10th September 2026. The 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Prime Time Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service with support from Goyle PLC, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, DuPay Money Transfer, Truster AI, GTP, Bell Beverages, Didi Jollof, Spin City Laundromat. The broadcast on Joy News is sponsored by Vitamilk and Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. Broadcast partners: Frutelli, Excellence Publications and Stationery, Didi Chito, Nataraj, Virtual Security Africa, Left Signature Limited, Syntex Tank, Doormaster, New Crystal Hospital, Palm University College, Ayuda, Prospectus Ghana Limited,